means you must comply immediately!
I've checked the rules.
I woke up to a bright red notice taped to my cabin door. It said I had 24 hours to demolish my own property or the HOA would do it for me. Karen thought panic would break me. Instead, that notice triggered the collapse of the entire HOA. I'd owned that cabin for over 10 years. Tucked away in a quiet corner of the lake community, it was my escape from noise, stress, and people who liked control a little too much. Mornings meant coffee on the porch, water gently moving, and nothing but birds and wind. Evenings were calm, private, predictable. The neighbors kept to themselves, respected boundaries, and life felt balanced. It was the kind of place where problems didn't exist, at least not until Karen arrived and decided peace needed supervision. Karen moved in like she'd been appointed ruler of the neighborhood. From day one, she spoke in warnings instead of greetings and quoted rules like scripture. First, it was my mailbox height, then my stacked firewood, then the color of my outdoor chairs. Every issue came with emails, photos, and threats of formal action. I stayed polite, replied calmly, and started saving everything. Emails, dates, screenshots. Because people like Karen don't stop, they escalate. And the HOA seemed more than happy to listen. Over the next few months, Karen's obsession intensified. She stopped coming to me directly and started filing complaints non-stop. Notices appeared on HOA boards, emails were sent to neighbors, subtly painting me as a problem resident who ignored community standards. A few people warned me quietly, telling me Karen was pushing hard behind the scenes. What worried me wasn't just her behavior, it was the HOA's response. Complaints that used to take weeks were suddenly answered overnight. Rules were being interpreted creatively, always in her favor. That's when I realized this wasn't random anymore. It was personal. One quiet morning, coffee still warm in my hand, I opened the door and froze. A bright red notice was taped right to my cabin. 24-hour notice to demolish property. I read it twice, hoping I'd misunderstood. I hadn't. It claimed my cabin violated newly amended HOA regulations, rules I had never been told about. Karen's name sat neatly at the bottom, stamped with HOA approval. If I didn't comply, a demolition crew would be sent. My chest tightened. Fear hit fast, then faded, because something felt wrong. This wasn't enforcement, it was intimidation, and Karen was counting on me to panic instead of thinking. Instead of reacting, I sat down and opened my files. Permits, approvals, old HOA letters, photos dating back years. Everything was legal, signed, and properly recorded. I photographed the notice, logged timestamps, and started recording every interaction. Then I read the HOA bylaws line by line. That's when the truth surfaced. The board had skipped required procedures, ignored notification rules, and enforced changes retroactively. Worse, they'd done the same thing to other homeowners quietly. What Karen thought was authority was actually sloppy overreach. And once I saw that, fear disappeared. I wasn't defending anymore. I was preparing to expose them. The next morning, Karen showed up smiling, confident I'd fold. I didn't. I calmly told her the notice was invalid and that the HOA had violated its own rules. Her expression cracked instantly. She raised her voice, demanded compliance, and called the board again. But this time, I was ready. Authorities were already reviewing the documents I'd submitted. Emails started flying. Board members panicked. Karen tried to double down, but every word she said only made things worse. She wasn't in control anymore. She was exposed. Within 48 hours, the HOA froze enforcement entirely. The demolition notice was void. Karen stopped showing her face. My cabin stood untouched. Neighbors quietly thanked me. The lesson was simple. Stay calm, document everything, and know your rights. Loud bullies lose when facts speak louder. Hit like and subscribe for more HOA Karen stories.